I'll start off. Annalise is going to bring her screen up here for the weekly Success Strategies webinar here at Inside Real Estate. Just a little housekeeping. These can be a little more advanced sometimes. They usually fall outside of the normal beginner agent success plan loop. If you're just coming into kvCORE, you might want to check out the agent success plan, which is in the learning portal. Now, today, actually, we are going to be reviewing some basic functionality around the kvCORE smart number. There are a lot of questions around that. And we're also hoping with today's session, it'll be a little different. We also want to kind of gather your feedback and get a sense for what you guys think of the smart number in general, maybe do a little brainstorming around how you're using it. So what we're going to do, and before we jump in with Annalise, these are all recorded. They can be found at insiderealestate.com/webinars. What we're going to do is Annalise is going to kind of, if you don't mind, Annalise, you're going to kind of walk through the basics of the smart number.
Yes.
And together, I'm going to lean on you to maybe get into some of the nuances of how it works, and then we'll spitball some ideas for how to use this thing.
Sure, sounds good. Now, before we kick off, it would be amazing if someone could just pop into the question box and let us know you can see us, hear us, and then I'll drop the link for the doc that we're looking at. So this is recorded. We will be formatting it and adding it to the insiderealestate.com/webinars. So after this is done, I download the video when it's ready, format it, and pop it up there and jump it into groups. And I just dropped the link into the chat for everybody. So hopefully you've got that.
Yeah, it looks good.
All right, awesome. So today, our main focus is just to kind of talk about the smart number add-on like Ryan was speaking to, where to locate it, how you can use it to leverage and be successful in your business. And this is also a fact-finding mission for us, as he mentioned. So this is like, you know, if you have feedback on it or things like you'd like to see happen or added, you know, this is the time to like chat it in or think about it and email it to us.
Now, Annalisa, I know you have on the doc there that you're going to jump in and show it in Marketplace, but do you think it would be useful if we go into the lead engine and just look at
Absolutely.
and talk about what functionality we have without the add-on, because you do have access to the smart number, but it kind of works differently. Right. It gets more powered up when you get the add-on.
Yes. So for all intents and purposes, you're going to have your lead engine here, which is the fifth option down on the left-hand side of your dashboard. It's like that little half squid looking icon, right? And when you click on the call capture, you're going to find smart number information. So this is where you're going to find the company smart number if you've purchased your own smart number, as well as a built-in custom text code that can be used in conjunction with the smart number, and the ability to create your own custom text codes as a call to action with the smart number.
So now, did you click that? It seems frozen on my screen. Did you go into call capture?
I did. Let me go ahead and stop showing and refresh the screen then.
I'm just worried that it's the same for everybody else too.
Okay, I just reset it, so you should see my cursor moving.
It could just be me.
Oh, no.
There it is. It worked.
I hear and see. Everybody's like, I hear, oh, Michelle Seeley, hello. Okay, cool.
It worked. Yep.
Awesome. Technology, man, it's grand.
Yep.
So what's going to happen is you have to kind of imagine the smart number of which you're seeing here is going to be the smart number that blankets over the entire entity of which you belong. So this is like the broker, the enterprise umbrella smart number that everyone can use within that particular office. And the smart number is really used to immediately connect you with information on your dashboard via texting, on your app, giving notifications that somebody texted you and so forth. You can also build in texts from your campaigns within the smart campaigns, which will be launched from the smart number. When you use your dialer via the desktop application, it's calling out via the smart number. So your smart number is integral to the business, and it's kind of like the glue that keeps all of the information flowing, wouldn't you say?
Yep. Now, out of the box, the Office smart number, there's a lot of questions around these, and one of the big ones that people need to understand is that if you have a lead, and Annalisa, correct me if I'm wrong, if you have a lead in the system and they call from their number, you're going to get that call, right? It'll know that you're the owner of the lead.
Right. So that is the default. So if I registered with you as a contact, and then I called the smart number and you had my cell number in that contact, the system would immediately know this is all about Ryan, and then it's going to direct me immediately to Ryan, the agent.
And if
So
they
it's
text you, if they text you, it works the same way. It'll go into
yes.
the
Hmm.
contact record, and you'll see the text. The
Yep.
issue a lot of people have here, and one of the things that the smart number add-on solves, is what happens if somebody finds this number out in the wild and they call it,
Right.
right? And at least some people will put it on like their blog or on Facebook or something, not realizing that this is going to route to the office if the lead doesn't already exist.
Right, and that's why it's super important to create something unique that belongs to you as a call to action, which kind of leads to talking to the custom text codes. So you can create calls to action on Craigslist, on any social media, any printed media, really, anything. You could even skywrite this stuff. Basically saying, hey, lead, if you text my specific code, so if I scroll down, like this is one I created called Show Me the Money. If you text Show Me the Money to my smart number, I'm going to send you information on getting you started to see if you qualify for a down payment assistance grant or evaluation. So you can create different types of calls to actions with these smart numbers.
And if you
And
advertise that number, the lead will come to you.
right, exactly. When you create your own specific code, yes.
Okay. Now,
go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm going to let you go.
No, you're good. Ask away.
Well, I was just going to say, so there's a little nuance here with what happens, because I see the confusion sometimes. Part of the reason we want to do this is what happens if you put it on the back of your business card and you hand it to the clerk at the grocery store, just a random example, and then they call. If they're not already a lead in the system, the lead's actually going to get routed through your office routing rules, and that has and does occasionally upset people who don't know that's going to happen. Right? I want to get that out of the way.
Correct. And I mean, there are other nuances such as if lead duplication is on or not, depending on the office. So there's like little things that can be done here and there that may affect where that person ends up, depending on if it's duplicated lead or not. But in the grand scheme of things, this is a very great way to keep your name, phone number, and information in front of folks, because then they're going to start texting you. You can start texting them back via the app, via the dashboard, and it's all pretty cohesive right in front of you, whether it's desktop or app.
Yeah. Now we did have a question about the duplication. What if the lead is owned by two contacts? Depending on your office rules, that can happen. And what does it do? Prioritize the first one or something, Annalisa?
Well, what'll happen, and just so everybody knows, if you want to learn more about this, you can click into this little chat bubble here at the bottom right, and just type in this keyword for find an answer for yourself. Just type in duplication or dupe or whatever you want to, shortened up. And this will take you directly to the articles on duplication. So this is where it's going to start to talk to duplicate leads, contacts, and lead ownership. This is an important article for you to look over. Now, what's going to happen, like this is like explaining, how two leads with the same email address can exist at the same time with this feature enabled. So if lead duplication is on, then people could have the same contact within their own dashboards. Just like if they were to go sign up on another website, a competitor's website, they can exist in other places. Now, when we're looking to lead ownership and where that contact may end up, I'm trying to get down to the bottom part here where we get into that meat and potatoes. You can look and see who the owner is directly. And then there is a situation like, say the lead hasn't responded, and I think it's 90 days. Trying to get down to that section. This article is a little different than the format I see on the other one. Well, I'll need to look for it separately instead of wasting time here. But basically, if a contact, let's say it's owned by two people, and then the contact all of a sudden responds back after 90 days, well, let's look and be like, well, who owns this lead? Well, it's going to be whoever texted or contacted that lead last. That's what the system is going to recognize.
Okay, so that answers that one question from Daniel, I hope. But And then there's a question from Greg. The call number remains the same, just text code changes. Yeah, if you create your own unique
Yes.
text code, then people are going to be texting that text code to your smart number, and you'll always get those interactions.
Right.
Now, we just kind of, at least we kind of introduced the nuance, and it can be a little confusing if you own your own smart number. If you're using the office smart number, there is risk that if people call that, it's going to route elsewhere if they text it, if it's a duplicate lead. And part of what the smart number in our marketplace does, the add-on allows you to own your own smart number, so that none of that confusion happens. It's always yours. And there's a number of reasons why you would want to do it. I'll let you get into that first, Annalisa.
On having your own smart number?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what I have seen people do is purchase their own smart number that makes a more cohesive branding experience all across the board for if you have, you know, print or media or online media, right? So you've got your own distinct smart number to go with your branding, and I think that's really the number one reason. Number two,
you can advertise it without a text code attached.
Right, right. I mean, it just you know, it's immediately go to that agent. There's no question about it. It's also going to enable you to, oh, I just lost my train of thought. Sorry, I had looked outside for just a second while I was thinking. I got all squirrel. I got the squirrel. I got the Ryan squirrel brain all of a sudden. Basically, I really highly suggest if you can purchase your own smart number, get it, because it does make for a more cohesive branding. You can have success using the overall brokerage smart number as long as you understand the rules around it. I think that's what we're kind of speaking to make sure everybody has that understanding of what does work with the overall brokerage and, you know, how it would work if you had your own.
Yeah, this is incredibly powerful. And one thing we didn't mention, and we've done full webinars about this, we'll put it in the doc. We did one where we did 20 or more ideas for how to use the smart number. But remember, anytime somebody interacts with the smart number, you're getting the cell phone of that person in most cases.
Right.
You know, if they text you a text code, if they call, most people are using their cells. It's kind of all tracking. You have a really good lead and interaction here. So there are tons of advantages to integrating the smart number into all your marketing whenever possible. Like Annalisa said, flyers, the back of your business card, on your business card, anything offline.
I mean, a sign writer, Craigslist. I mean, the possibilities really are endless. I mean, you could even partner with your lender, and maybe you have a blog up there about the lender saying, here are the things you can prepare for when you want to become a homeowner, or the top 5 questions you need to prepare for, because, you know, that gets pretty deep into the information they get to do the whole lending process. So how do you prepare your folks? You know, text lending steps to, and then you could just direct them to that blog. And then you have the idea that, okay, these people are reading about the opportunity becoming homeowners. Okay, I see interest there. You know, you could really loop this into custom pages, areas you cover. There's really no limit.
So before we get into the marketplace and show people how to order their own specific smart brand, do we just want to show the creation of a text code? I know it's basic, but
yeah, absolutely.
For the people who've never done it, just to get you a little excited about how easy it is to do this.
It's super easy. I think custom text codes and hashtags are like my jam. They're my 2 favorite things. Custom text codes are super, super easy. Again, to locate this, you click on your lead engine. Then you're going to click into the call capture section. So your custom text codes will always live here on the right-hand side. And to create one, you simply just scroll it on down. And of course, yours won't be nearly as lengthy as mine right now, probably. But you just click Add New. And this is where you start the setup process of thinking, okay, what do I need this to speak to? What information do I want to share here? So there's a couple of ways you could do this. You could grab a custom code, like maybe it's house 1. Maybe that's going to be your sign writer sitting. And then every time you sell the house, you move the sign writer, but this code can stay the same because you can edit it so it reflects a new listing. So you could say, I want whenever somebody texts house 1, the system's going to recognize this is an MLS ID, and I want this smart number to respond. So if you're part of a brokerage or a team and have your own entity smart number, you can choose which smart number you want it to come from, or even if you've purchased your own. So you can choose the number. And then what's going to happen is when somebody texts house one, they're immediately going to get a link and your contact information text to them almost instantaneously. And it'll also have that link going right to your domain to learn more. So as you move the sign writer, you can just pop in. So if I add this, nope, cannot add a custom, oh, that's right, because I have a duplicate. So this is a good example. If you already have, if someone else is already using house one, like if we look at it right here, I already have house one set up, right? So you cannot have a duplicate custom text code as someone else unless you own your own, text code. Then you can have as many codes as you want. But this system's not going to allow you to have a duplicate code amongst your teammates, and that helps route information. So maybe I'm just going to call this, house one. And then you could put in your MLS ID and then choose your number, add. And this would be sitting on your sign writer, text house one to get more information on this home. You sell the home, you pop into your dashboard, you click edit, and you drop in.
It'll send them the page on the website, right? With a link to the listing on your website.
Yeah, it'll come back with a preview image of the listing along with the link to the domain of the agent or entity of which was connected to this call to action, and as well as all of the agent contact information.
So this mixes, some old school leveraging your listings with signs with some new school. And I know there are a lot of services you could buy third party to do this, but included with kvCORE, you can build unlimited for as many listings as you want, whether you have the smart number add-on or not through your broker, right?
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So really a lot of value here, guys, if you think about, the different ways you can use this. Also, Annalisa, I posted to everybody the link to the 20+ ways webinar from
awesome.
about last year. And also it's in the doc now too. So you guys can watch that after this session if you want.
Cool, thank you. So I think if you're looking at, online use, if you're popping into Craigslist and adding things, the way I looked at Craigslist is I still wanted to push my information out there when I was a user helping agents out. And I would always put in calls to action like, curious about your home, your property's value, because there's looky-loos all over Craigslist. Why not give them the opportunity to engage you for evaluation? Or maybe looking for similar homes, you could go into your lead engine. We could create a squeeze page and a custom text code. So you could go in and create a squeeze page looking for similar homes in this area, text this code to this number. And it's an immediate lead in your system. So, you've got many different types of possibilities. So we could go in and create a quick squeeze page.
There's also very cool here is that as the lead is created, your campaign automations can take over as well.
Yes, yeah, via the lead routing, yeah.
So, Daniel's asking if it's case sensitive. I don't believe it is, right? It's not case sensitive.
I have not heard that it is. We can double check.
Yeah, I can test that. I'm pretty sure it's not because I've tested these all different ways, and I'm sure I'm not always doing that. But we'll double check here.
Yeah, we'll find out. So I would really encourage you to take a look at these custom text codes, and I guess I'll double dog dare everyone to try one out by the end of the week. I think that's fair, right?
Yeah.
All right. So where are we headed next, sir?
So there's a question. Okay, just some feedback. It's hard to view the lightly shaded information on the site. It's difficult to see where you're clicking. Okay, this is partly due to GoToWebinar, but on the replay, it may be less grainy.
Oh, and well, actually, I appreciate that about pace too, because I thought I was going slow on my screen switches. So I'm going to give it a beat. So I appreciate that, Mark.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the things with these sessions is usually Annalisa and I riffing, but if you go into the agent success plan, I'm sure there's a module on this, right, Annalisa, that kind of will break these things down into smaller chunks too.
I believe so. I'll double check with our learning management team.
So Michelle's asking, are we limited to the number of custom codes we can have? No.
No, they're like Lay's chips. You can't stop at one. Really.
Which is really cool. I mean, if you go shop for this on the open market, it can be pricey, with other solutions. So it's pretty good value add here.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about the functionality here. Now
Yeah.
let's maybe know where to get the add-on.
Okay.
If you want your own number that's not tied to anybody in your office, you don't want to risk somebody calling and it going to somebody else and all that mess we started off with here.
Right, and I'm going to drop the link to the doc one more time into that chat as well. Okay, so the Smart Number add-on is available via kvCORE and the Marketplace here down this left-hand side. What is that, the 7th option down on the left?
Yep.
And when you get here, you can either click Smart Number add-on or keyword search it. It's usually up here in the featured products. And when you click on Get This, it's more of a get this, learn more about it. So you're not opting in blindly here. You're going to click it and learn more about the product. And it speaks to, let me make this larger in case that helps people read it a little better. It speaks to how you can leverage more of what kvCORE has to offer. So it's like giving yourself that next level up by having your own distinct Smart Number. It is a minimum 3-month term, and it does have a 30-day cancellation after the first 3 months. So it gives you enough time to get a good measure of how it works, which is really important. It's kind of like lead gen. You have to let the tree roots grow over time to get that closing going. So you need to have a good overall idea of how it's working, which is why we have that 3-month initial term. And it just helps you, use your number in those lead gen contexts that are not in your database. So you can put those calls to action out with the custom text codes. If you're using Millions Mapped and someone's on your website and let me see if I can bring that up real quick. If someone's on your website and they click on the download Millions Mapped and they don't have it or they're not a contact of yours yet, the system's going to tell you they downloaded Millions Mapped and capture their cell phone number. So, if you're using that, it's going to bring them in. So they have the ability here to download the iOS, download to Android right here. So we have all these little different built-in conduits to connect people. It's also going to ensure that all of those calls and texts are going to directly to you, every single time, instead of having the possibility of it round robining in the office, potentially. You've got the short codes with the custom text codes, of course, and you have your Smart Number as a second call to action on your landing pages, and you can set up Smart Number specific lead routing, which is key.
I'll mention at this point, if people are considering our team add-on, you do get a Smart Number included with that. And I think that's one scenario where if you're a team leader and you want your own number for your team, where this lead routing will come into play. Right. And it is actually included with that add-on.
Yeah, which is awesome.
I'm going to test. We get another question about the case sensitivity. I'll be able to test that here by the end of the webinar. I meant to send myself one.
Okay, and another thing regarding the Smart Number, if you've looked at this and you're like, okay, this is the thing for me, I'm going to pull the trigger, I'm going to try this out. All you need to do is click Add to kvCORE here up on the upper right to initiate that. And a form stack is going to come up. You just fill out this information. You drop in what your preferred area codes are, 1 or 2. And most importantly, who is this routed to? Is it to yourself? Are you a broker that's getting it for another agent, or is it for a team? So make sure you're specific here. And then, of course, your cardholder info. And then a signature and submit it. And then the next thing you know, you'll have someone in contact with you about the setup process.
Cool. I'm testing this out really quick to see about the case sensitivity. So guys, I'd like to invite, without this getting, one of the reasons we want to do this webinar is we know that the Smart Number can contribute a lot to your success with the system, and we'd like as many people using it as possible. So now that you've kind of seen how it works, you've seen the pricing to get your own add-on number. If you want to just give any feedback you have about the pricing, about the functionality, if you have any other questions, we'd love to hear that now. It'll help us kind of, as we go forward, training around the Smart Number and, designing different offerings. It'll really help us out.
Well, and it's super important to get that end user point of view, the experience, so we can, react and adjust if we need to. Let's
So any
see. Oh,
feedback, I can just ask blatantly, what do people, how many people on have the smart number? What do you think about the $27 a month for the add-on, in order to get your own designated? What do you think of that pricing? Any feedback you'd give would be really, really helpful. I am testing this number on another screen.
oh, hey, I just saw that someone's like, hey, gave me a shot. Hey, Mark Weichman, hi. I know. He's like, hey, we used to have private sessions back when I was in training. I used to do one-on-ones, and it's nice to see a familiar face. So hello, Mark. Let's see. Just trying to see if any additional. Oh, Michelle's saying, hey, can the smart number be shorter and not look like an actual number? So that is more of a different type of tool that I can't remember the exact name of it. It's something like a short code,
Yep.
but it's separate than a smart number. So the smart number is just the glue that has to have those 10 digits to work with the system.
One of the reasons it's long with us is because it does a number of things. It's not just doing that text response. It's also doing phone, it functions as a regular phone number so people can call it and things like that. You can't just call a short code, for example.
Right. And I think as people are looking at this like, ooh, this is just a tad spendy for me, or, I'm not in the realm, it'd be really good if you could give us an idea of, okay, when I look at what this is and how it can benefit me, I would assign this value to it. So I think if you kind of think about the overall use of kvCORE and how it integrates into everything and how it could affect and leverage your business, it would be really good to understand your perspective on cost and use. I think that would be helpful, I would hope.
Cool.
Nothing new is coming.
That's cool.
Back.
No, that's no problem.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
So we'll go back through. I do want to make sure that we have a slower training, very nitty-gritty training in the Agent Success Plan. If it's not there already,
Right.
for those of you commented, there will be a designated. And Lisa, I'm sure you have done videos over time, designated little short ones, right, to this functionality.
And I believe Natalie was doing some updated ones, so I'll check in with her as well.
Yeah, so those will be available in the Agent Success Plan. And then finally,
cool. William's like, hey, William. He's like, I use the text code for each listing. I usually use the street number of the listing as the text code. I use it on Craigslist and on Instagram. Excellent point, William, because Instagram only allows you one link in your biography. A text code on a picture is great. So
yeah, they're also.
Yep, go ahead.
They're also awesome in Craigslist if you're still using Craigslist or even Facebook Marketplace. If you have a place where there's an image, you can also put the text code in an image there, upload it as a separate picture, one of the hacks.
Yeah, that's an excellent, good point too.
Yeah. So I did test the number. It is not case sensitive, so it'll work whether somebody does it lowercase or uppercase, as long as they send in the string.
Awesome.
Daniel's got a great concern, and thank you for that feedback, more in the range of 10 to 15 a month. Thank you for that feedback. And my concern is that if I ever left kvCORE, I would lose my number as well.
Oh, but you won't. Yeah, you do have the ability to purchase it if you do decide to leave.
Yeah, so we should add that to the marketplace tile. But yes, these are portable as long as Annalisa said. So if you do need to leave us, you can purchase it from us, and we'll get, I don't know the details on that number, but I'll make sure that ends up in the marketplace tile.
And just as an offhand, and there's very limited things where I've heard this applies, but some people actually have their own smart number. They've just had it a while, and they're like, hey, can we use it with kvCORE? You can work with support to port it in. There still would be a monthly fee for the use because of the conduit into the dashboard.
Oh, that's great. So if you have a number you were using for business, like a Google Voice number or something, you could port it over.
They would need to really talk with support to make sure it's the correct number or correct type of number, but initiate that and then talk about it if you have your own and that's something you want to bring over.
I'm also sending over the doc that was with the webinar I dropped earlier that shows a bunch of examples kind of live.
Awesome.
From that webinar. I don't know, I think that the examples in that doc, I don't know if that demo account is still alive, so that smart number may not work if you try texting those codes, but you'll see examples.
Right. Trying to think of any other handy tips on it. And basically, it's the glue that holds all the information together, and you can utilize it on any type of marketing call to action as well as custom text codes. So
if I could boil it down, I would say if you're in a position where you like to talk to people on the phone and you want, or text, and you want to always get an accurate phone number from your marketing, a cell number in a lot of cases, this is a really good way to go. You could build your whole practice around just a few text codes, and probably do really well if you're just quick about calling people back, and maybe set up a smart campaign in the system designated to that code. So
right, because the lead routing can trigger all sorts of things. Maybe you've got something where they're going to be sent a link to the valuation, which can then, when that comes in, then it could trigger maybe a postcard or a webhook out. So you can have all of these tools intermixing and triggering, which is pretty amazing.
Yep. Troy's asking, should you use a separate smart number for overall team, office versus listing signs? That'll be up to your, case by case, but that is sort of the thing there. If you're say a team leader, you're the listing agent on your team or something, and you want all the leads to always come to you when that number is called, you want to use a smart number in that scenario for your listing signs. If you want to route to leads that are texted into everybody at your office, and you don't want to necessarily care about always getting that call or that text, then you can use the overall team, office, and then we do have people who have multiple smart numbers because it just makes sense for their business case.
Right, and I think I've heard some people have purchased a couple of smart numbers just due to the large area of which they cover, and they wanted to make it unique, like maybe on the west side of the state and unique on the east side of the state. So that was an interesting way to look at it as well.
That's a really good point. Some offices, some of you guys might be at a brokerage where the home office is in a different area code than you are. So the smart number has this area code that won't really seem relevant to the people in your local market. So that's another good reason you might pick up a smart number, to get that local area code for your specific market.
Exactly. And Troy saying, hey, I don't see where you can route smart number leads. Well, let's take a look here. There should be a trigger in there that you can do when the new lead lands via. But let's take a look. It's been a little while since I've looked here, so bear with me. Okay, so you can see the source. Let's see. It looks like we're going to need to have that source added in. Or we haven't done it on this test account, likely. That's probably likely because the source isn't in here yet. So I'll nail down the nitty gritty on that and get it out to everyone. I will say, with the custom text codes, I did figure out a way to create a smart campaign to trigger off of a custom text code, and I'll grab that link for you here as well. Anything to add, Ryan?
Yeah, I was muted. I was actually saying tracked call as the source.
I think that's what it. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I was about to look up that video, be like, I know I did this.
It's called tracked. The source is called tracked call. Now, one thing that the dev team is working on, I know, because this came up recently for me with some internal marketing, is we are soon going to have the ability to hashtag individual smart numbers as well.
Ooh.
Which will help drive automation as well. And I believe that's on the short list because it came up recently, and our VP of product was like, oh, we better do that right away. So it should be soon.
Awesome. That's great. I'm going to drop the link to that course, or that quick little tutorial. Basically, this is how to create a custom text code smart campaign for a custom text code, and it's really pretty neat.
Cool.
Yeah.
So if you guys have any other questions about anything else in Marketplace, about our advertising offerings, any other add-ons or integrations you're trying to do, or anything related to kvCORE in general, feel free to use this time. Any other feedback about the smart number, Annalisa and I can hang out for a few minutes, right, Annalisa?
Absolutely. And is there a main marketing email they can send information to?
You can use advertising at insiderealestate.com if you have general marketplace and advertising questions right now. It'll just go into our queue, and our team will kind of handle that.
Okay, got it. I'm adding it to the doc here.
But our support team, you can always chat us, and they'll get it over to our team, get your questions answered. Daniel saying he has a Google Voice number. If I were to port it to you, how would I make outbound calls and texts via the smart number to a new lead not in kvCORE? From the dialer, Annalisa, is that correct?
Yes, yeah, you could do it from the dialer. So when you have that lead in the system, you can hashtag them, and you can dial by hashtag, you can dial by contact type, you can also dial via a smart CRM filter. So depending on the type of contact, you have many different ways of trying to outbound call for them.
Yeah, what's nice is anytime you use the dialer, it's all the interactions are going to be recorded in the contact record.
Mm-hmm.
Troy's asking what our names are. I am Ryan, and Annalisa is Annalisa.
I mean, hello. It's really with the long A, but I don't correct anybody. No.
Ryan Hartman and Annalisa Dolan.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did say that thing about the Google Voice porting. I was making an assumption there, but I'm pretty sure you can port those out. But definitely ask our support team about that. But
yeah,
if they're not in kvCORE, if he's trying to dial out to somebody who's not already in kvCORE, wouldn't you just add them first, I assume?
Well, there's a couple of ways you could do this. So on the desktop, you can go up here into Quick Actions and add your contact. So you can add them to a dialer list. And when you get them in here, I mean, you can, put in your name, email, cell, or whatever information you may have, ensure the permissions, get your lead status in here. But the most important part is going to be jumping in here and adding a hashtag. So within the notes, maybe you want to drop them into need name. Maybe that's how you're going to need to make contact, need to get their name to match it up with a phone number.
That should be a drop down. That's too difficult.
It should be. That's my Grammarly. But yeah, when you add this in, it's going to become a hashtag when this lead is created when you add the contact, which then lends itself to a dialer list. And also, if you're on the mobile app, the system gives you the chance to either text from the smart number or your own phone number. But just keep in mind, when you text from the app with your own cell phone number, we don't have a way of keeping track of that confidential information shared. We don't pluck information out of your phone. We only use information from the smart number that is associated with the kvCORE account.
Yeah. Trey was asking, he actually wanted examples of how a lead can be routed somewhere else. So first off, I'm going to answer the two ways I'm interpreting that question. First off, if a lead comes in and texts the main office number and they're not tied to anybody in the system, it'll obey any existing routing rules. I think the question is probably more specific to what Annalisa is doing now, where you can specify the source. See if you have the tracked call as a source in there.
Yeah, it's not on. I don't think I did my example in this one. I think I did it in a different demo account that had that source in here already.
So you haven't had a tracked call in here yet? That's the problem?
No, that's the problem. That source hasn't come in on this test account, but I did successfully do it on a different one. So I know it can be done, and that's why I posted that little tutorial that came in.
Great. Now, can you route based on a specific text code that came in?
Yes.
Good.
So what I did is I set it up to say, when this contact lands with this code, I want this to happen. So, and that's when you start getting into, different types of routing and information and contact touchbacks and tasks for yourself and so forth.
This is where the system is very powerful, can do a lot of crazy stuff, but for the purposes of getting 90% of the results, use your smart numbers and text or call people back and generate conversations.
Right.
We can do a lot of really cool stuff in automation, but I see some people get bogged down in setting that all up first before they actually start advertising the smart number. My advice would be to create a smart number, start advertising it, start getting some interactions, have some conversations with people, and then from there you can start to refine with our marketing automation on the back end or our smart campaigns.
Right.
Versus spending 2 days trying to build a smart campaign but never getting your ad out, right, to advertise the number in the first place.
Well, yeah, because then you're ready to pull. There's a trigger to still be pulled.
Yeah.
All you have is ammo.
Yeah, Troy's asking a great question. He's saying track call is not in the source, and that is because he hasn't had somebody text one of his text codes yet, right?
Yeah, right.
As soon as if you test your own, test it from another number. I don't know if you can test from your own.
No, don't test it from your own, because it's kind of like a smart number inception. So like if I'm an agent and I texted my smart number that's associated with me, it's going to say, no, this isn't going to work. You need to text back via your kvCORE dashboard, because it's recognizing me as a user. So ask your friend, ask your wife, ask your husband, significant other, hey, could you test this for me? and ask them to test it. Or grab your kid's phone, you know, something like that.
Yeah, but Troy, it'll show up there. Troy, if you have a text code, I'll text it for you so you get the track code.
And Michelle's saying, hey, speaking of the dialer, I used it to make scheduled calls, but it didn't update on the desktop. What am I doing wrong? Well, Michelle, I don't believe something wrong is happening on your end. This is something where it would be great if you could let support know, if you haven't already, what you were doing and when, and also the make, model, and version of the mobile device. That's super helpful with our development team on kind of getting into the nitty-gritty on particular devices and the use of the apps. So please provide that if possible.
Do you have to manually mark off after the call, or should it automatically record the call from a dialer?
You do. So when we're looking at the dialer on the app or within the desktop, like if I was to call someone, let me see here. Let me get in here. Let's say we wanted to call my dad. And I don't have a phone number on him, so let me add a phone.
I'm going to prank him.
Well, that'll go to me, but okay.
I thought it was your dad.
That's fine. So you can go up here to new call, right? And when you click this, it's going to say, okay, we are going to call this number, and it's going to call via the smart number. So this is a third-party connection. It's you saying, okay, kvCORE, I need you to connect me to this person. So there's like a 3-touch right there. And then when you click call, it gives you a countdown. And then once they answer, so it's going to call my cell in a second here. And then it's saying, okay, no, it's your phone number. It's not going to work. So it jumped me right back out. But this is where you have to log it either on the app or on the desktop. And if you're not seeing these things match up, please let our support team know.
But that might be what Michelle was referring to. She marked it, but it didn't show up in the dashboard. Got it.
Right. So you really must click outbound or inbound. If you did a purposeful outbound call or somebody called you, log it here, put in the note, and then you can also update it. Yeah, I contacted them. Nope, they weren't home, or it was a bad number. Myself, I let bad numbers roll for a good 3 weeks until I remove it. I just call it, okay, and then I'll mark the note like, okay, disconnected number 2, and then on the 3rd try, I'm like, okay, you're out.
Another thing here, I know a lot of people make the calls, but you can also text people and treat that as a call. Right?
Right. So you can go in here on send text as well. And you can either send a canned text. So if you created a template within that smart campaign area, you know, the segment within a smart campaign is called a template. You can choose that. So maybe you just called them and you want to send a text. You can also drop an MLS ID in here. And when you send this, it's going to add a primary photo of the listing. And when they tap it, it's going to open up the listing on your website. You can also click this little box just to include a link to the MLS information. So, you know, you have a lot of options here on sending content.
Michelle's got a good question. So she's been calling from her phone independent of the desktop. Are you calling from the actual dialer app or straight from your phone? Because what it is that the system will recognize your personal cell number and be able to mark off that data. You know, and that's just because we can't access T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T, what's going on there.
Right.
So our smart numbers become our own ecosystem for tracking everything.
And there's a really great infographic that Shane created all about making money on the smart number, which is important too. And this is linked on the sheet we have. But basically, this kind of walks you through the custom codes, information about your mobile office, presenting your number, and so forth. And it just speaks to ways you can leverage and prompt people to use your text code, which is pretty neat. There's also another article, which is very helpful. It's this smart number fact sheet, and that's also linked. But it speaks to the ins and outs and scenarios of which you may run across as part of an office, as part of a team, just so you can get a well-rounded look at, you know, things that can kick off or start when you utilize your smart number. So like this is a good example. A lot of people are like, well, what number do they see when things are happening? So the smart number is always going to be shown when you're calling from your computer. But if you're calling from the mobile app, it shows your cell number. And then on your website, they may see the smart number. Your custom text code is connected to your smart number. You can have your smart campaign sending out a text, which is sent from the smart number. And everything you respond to via the system goes out via the smart number and the smart campaigns.
Cool. Troy's asking about editing his custom code. You should be able to edit any codes that you've created by clicking the edit tab off to the right. You might have to scroll up. I've done that too, where I don't see it.
I think it's a little pencil on the right-hand side.
And then I don't think you can actually, the main code for your name, that might be what he's talking about. You might not be able to edit that, right?
Well, let me take a look at mine. I haven't really messed around with that one. I think actually, wait, I did. Yeah. So, okay. So see, this is my default code is Annalisa Dolan. And it's blank when you first initially get it. It's like whatever you want this to speak to at the time, you can change it. So this here, like all of these are all of the agents within my office on my test account. And all of these are their default text codes. And each of us can go in and change ours up. So all you need to do is click edit. And I basically just added our link in here as an example once. So you could change up your code. You just can't change what it reads. This is locked, but you can change the response.
That was the question, Annalisa. I think Troy wanted to know if he could change
the actual code.
Yeah. Can that be done through our support team or through the admin of the account possibly?
There's the potential. We'll have to find out.
Yeah, if you don't like that, Troy's is Troy J. I have a hunch that if you open a support ticket, we might be able to do that for you. No promises, but.
I mean, mine uses like every vowel possible, right? So I get it. It can be pretty lengthy depending on your name, right? So yeah, we can find out.
Or you can just create a new custom one with what you want and use that.
Sure. Yeah.
Thank you for all the questions, everybody. It really helps. Awesome. Participation. So. Well, if there isn't much else here, then I guess we could bid adieu. Just a reminder to everybody that Property Boost and our Facebook advertising options are still cranking along, getting great results. Those are relatively new products. We've been refining them and just seeing some great results there. So if you're looking for a way to get leads flowing into your dashboard, I am a big advocate of both of those, Property Boost and the Facebook ads product. And we've recently added retargeting off the shelf to the Facebook ads product. So it'll show Facebook ads to anybody visiting your site, follow them around, or anybody clicking through your ad. So just a little tip there.
Well, and the cool thing is Brian's updated the information in our kvCORE platform, Core Learning Center. So we've got, a lot of information where you can learn a little more in depth about growth strategies, which includes, the social media protocol, the Facebook generating leads, retargeting, postcards, seller leads, and really importantly, if you're just getting into advertising and you're not real sure about doing it yourself yet, you can have us run it for you, and while you're getting your feet under you, and then take the handoff whenever you need it. There's also information in here regarding the Property Boost if you want to learn more as well.
Great. All right, what do we got next week, Annalisa? Next Wednesday, do we have anything scheduled or?
Well, I'm trying to think on that. I think I'm going to put a poll up for the group. So today what I'm going to do is put in some questions in the Facebook discussion group, the Inside Real Estate Success Strategies, and I'm going to ask you for what you guys are clamoring to learn. What is it that's on your mind? So we can kind of, bring some things around that.
Michael, is there a place I can view the ads that are being sent on Property Boost? Or Making It Rain. So Making It Rain is not us. So that would be your company. But Property Boost, what we do is we throw up various versions of the ad. But if you open a support ticket, we can probably get you a preview.
And I believe, there's some examples of what content will look like within this Facebook advertising samples.
Michael, just email advertising at insiderealestate.com and give us the address of the property, and me or Eric or Katie can find it for you.
Yeah. So here's an example. Pretty, you know. So, yep, I guess we'll wrap it up, and thank you everyone for being here.
Yep. See you all next week.
Bye-bye.